You know, I'd love to talk about comedy. I'd love to break down why I'm doing this bit this way, why I put that line here and not over here. I said, do you think I could teach that as a course? Do you think it's teachable?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you agree with that? Do you agree that comedy cannot be taught?
Basically, what I was saying is that it is not that comedy can't be taught, but I think the approach to how it is normally taught is wrong. I know, of course, I'm not a comedian or anything like that, but at the same time, I think that everybody's funny. Literally everybody's funny. It's just about knowing who you are and then being able to put that on show in a hyperbolic way, and then you would be able to be funny. So if you have someone like a Jerry Seinfeld who does observational comedy, he's not really putting on a character per se, right? That's just him. He's making observations. It's interesting, and he's finding these little nooks and crannies of contradictions and contrasts that people typically don't think of. Because if they typically thought of them, then why the hell would we go to see you? So Steve Harvey's right about that, right? That people typically, if you don't have it, you don't have it. You know what I'm saying? And you probably can't teach it. But that doesn't mean that other people can't still be funny. You know what I'm saying? So I still think that for the most part, yeah, you're going to do observational stuff like Jerry, that's your thing, but you can still be a comedian, put yourself out there in hyperbolic ways, and in your hyperbolic way of perceiving the world, and people are gonna laugh.
Yeah,
I think.
But Jason, how many people can find that thing about themselves and then pursue that career as a comedian? I don't think anybody can do that. I don't think I can even teach you. I don't even think I can teach you about that thing within yourself. I can't teach you that. You have to figure that out. You know what I mean? I could look at you and be like, oh, Jason, you know, when you do that thing, it's so funny. But unless you are like aware, like really aware that this is what makes me funny.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to, how I want people to perceive me in this time or in this space, then nobody can do that for you. You have to do that on your own. And if you don't have that, I can't teach you.
Right. All right. So here's the thing. The last point you made, if you don't have it, I would have to be the one to teach you. Oh, sorry.
I can't teach you if you don't have it. Yeah.
I can't teach if you don't have it. But the thing is, you wouldn't even have to teach me if I had it. You get what I'm saying?
And again, that's the point.
No, I know that's the point. But the thing is that how I'm perceiving it is not about teaching comedy per se. It's just because you can teach someone like, okay, you have to do the element of surprise. Make sure you know who your target is. Make sure you know who your audience is. You know, that kind of stuff. And there's some stuff that you can learn in like screenwriting and stuff like that. But it's not like super complicated stuff. It's just you put the elements together. You make the actors who can act that out do it, and that's it. It's not that complicated in that sense, and that's why later on he'll go on to say, you know, comedians can be actors, but actors can't necessarily be comedians, which I agree with, because if they don't understand how to approach that, then they're fucked, right? They would have to know the character inside and out. There'd have to be like a method actor almost, if not totally a method actor, to be able to pull that off. So to me, the way I see it is kind of like, yeah, if I knew how I was funny, of course I wouldn't need you to teach me because I know how I'm funny. But in the situation where you're trying to teach, someone is asking, I want to be funny. You don't teach them, okay, this is how you tell a joke. This is how you do this. I think what you have to do is be like, okay, the best way to teach you how to be funny is to basically to get self-aware enough so that you know yourself, hyperbolize it, exaggerate it, and then you would be funny naturally, because you will live your life and people will laugh at the things you do. That's funny. But I don't know. Maybe I'm still
But then is I think I think you're focusing on a type of comedy because
I think
again,
yeah.
how many people can do situational comedy versus observational versus um dark comedy, stand-up comedy.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? People who there are so many different types of
But then
comedians, which is
again,
why
Doug, but then again, sorry to cut you, but then again, it's like, but you kind of just hit the nail on the head. Not every comedian going to want to stand up, Doug. You know,
Mhm.
some people are going to want to write it. Some people do it scripted. Some people do it, some people do stand up. Some people do scripted. Some people do improv. Some people
Mhm.
do sketch. There's all these different types of comedy. Some people do comics. If you're trying, the point was, can you teach someone comedy? Can you teach someone how to be funny? I think the method in which you are funny is going to show up in a lot of different ways. So even though Jerry Seinfeld might do observational comedy and Steve Harvey does characters, it's not that somebody else can do observational comedy. Their observations would just be different. So you're not going to do, what's the deal with airplane food? Not that Jerry Seinfeld actually made that joke, but that's just the joke that he.
I think he actually did.
No, he actually didn't. I checked. He didn't.
Oh,
But that's the thing. It's a Jerry Seinfeld type of joke, right? So that was the joke, right? But somebody else could make observational comedy. They just wouldn't make it like Jerry Seinfeld. They maybe say something like, "Yo, dog, you ever notice how pussy tastes good? You ever notice that?" And then based on how they talk about it, okay, yeah, okay. But the way they bring it up, right? Whether it's like a dry humor type of thing, a super exaggerated type of thing, or a certain accent that they have, that's the thing, that because like Dave Chappelle.
But again, but can I teach you that thing? I don't think I can.
It's not about no. All right. So let me just try and understand what you're asking. Are you saying, can you teach someone how to be self-aware, or are you teaching someone comedy?
I'm teaching them comedy.
Right, but what I'm saying is that it's not about teaching them comedy, because you wouldn't need to teach them that. All you need to do is teach them to be self-aware enough so that they would know who they are as a person and why people find them funny, and then be that. That's what I'm saying. It's not about teaching comedy. It's about teaching how to be self-reflective. That's what I'm trying to say.
I hear what you're saying, but can you teach that?
But honestly, I feel tempted to learn how to teach it, because I don't know if anybody. I mean, I guess that's a part of psychology, I guess. But
because that's why I'm saying, Doug, I can't take away from what Steve is saying. I kind of get it, and I kind of get your point too. But it still boils down to that individual knowing that, okay, it's not about yes, comedic timing is important. Yes, the way you deliver your joke is important, and the length of your joke and the punchline, and being able to bring back the punchline later if you're doing stand-up comedy. Rah rah roo. But are you funny? Like, for example, let's forget about Steve and Seinfeld for a moment and think about Jim Carrey.
That's a great three different types of humor right there.
Completely different type of funny man. You know what I mean? And yes, he has moments when he can speak and say funny shit. You know what I mean? But it's still silly kind of humor.
Yeah.
How him get up one day, and how did he know? Did somebody teach him? Like, oh, you know,
that's
so you
tricky.
go, everybody will laugh.
That's tricky though.
I can go and nobody likes it, but him go everybody like it. You know what I mean?
But isn't that because of who he is as a person?
Yes, it is.
But that's what I'm saying. That's literally the point I'm trying to make. It's
but
like,
I can't tell you who you are. You have to figure that out yourself.
Yes, dog. But can't you still? All right. Here's the thing, right? You come to a comedy class, and I don't know. We're talking at length about this, so we probably don't need to go do the whole clip, because we're talking about like almost everything in the clip. But the thing is like, right? So Jerry say he's in a class, right? And he's just telling the people, like, listen, the fact that you're even here is a really bad sign. You probably fucked. What the fuck are you doing here? And what ends up happening is that, you know, that's why I think Jerry, even though he's the one that posed the question, I think ultimately he does agree. You can't really teach people how to be funny. But, and I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm being too repetitive at this point, but to me, it's like, if I was teaching a class, and to be honest, I'm not a comedian, you know what I'm saying? But if someone were to teach a class, I think the best way to teach it would be like, listen, this is not a class where I'm going to tell you how to make this type of joke, how to say this type of thing this way, how to be Kevin Hart, how to be Dave Chappelle, how to be
Cat Williams.
I was trying to find a white guy because I'm like, we have too many black people. Yeah, literally, I'm only thinking
Excuse
black
me, what?
people. Yeah, I don't care. I was literally only thinking about black people a while ago.
No wrong with that.
That's what I'm saying. Nothing technically was wrong, but I was like, I want to diversify. Even like, you know what? Here's a great example. This is a great fucking example. Jim Brewer, right? He's the type of person who kind of have a stand-up style, kind of like a Jim Carrey, right? He was in Half Baked with Dave Chappelle. If you remember, he's the guy who him just look high all the time. How him talk, sound high all the time.
I know who you're talking about.
Right. And so basically is like what he does now, he just goes on tour and he's talking about how coronavirus is fake and all this other fucking bullshit, right? People laugh. People fucking laugh. I watch him and I'm like, this is not fucking funny. It's not funny at all. But people fucking laugh. You know why people laugh? Because the target audience fucks with what he's saying. They think it's fucking ridiculous. And the faces that he makes are so like, I don't know, dog. It's like the man face make out a fucking Play-Doh or some shit. So that's why ultimately it's like, oh yeah, I guess this is funny. Even though to many of us, we wouldn't find it funny at all. But the thing is that why could he do that? Why can't Jim Carrey do that similar type of thing? And why can Steve Harvey not do that? That's why if I was teaching a class, I'd be like, yo, dog, don't worry about any other shit that any of these other motherfuckers doing, right? I'm not here to teach you how to be like any of them because that's not the point. You need to know yourself. And how we're going to learn how to be ourselves is probably like, okay, well, to be honest, I probably have the answer for that. Just observe. Like literally just have a group of people observe each other, right? You will be able to find how someone is funny. Because if you watch someone long enough, this sounds weird, but if you watch someone long enough, you'll see they have certain patterns and certain rhythms in what they do. And when you watch that shit, it's just like, this poor damn fool. And you just start laughing to yourself.
What I'm afraid of, dog, is that you are borderline, not saying you are doing it, but it just sounds like a borderline trivializing how technical being funny is.
All right, continue.
You understand? So that's why I'm like, it's not something that you can go and go teach like plumbing. People can go acting school, but they still can. The acting school, you can learn to act, but that doesn't mean you're going to be like the greatest actor ever. You know what I mean?
But why? That's the point, though. Why wouldn't you be? What's the difference between a great actor and a mediocre one? Isn't it commitment to the role?
It is commitment to the role and just how well you play that role, I guess. I don't know if I tell you that.
All right.
It's the it factor.
All right, but here's the thing, right? Do you think that all right, hold on.
Go ahead.
Do you think that Brad Pitt could play well? Brad Pitt is like has a very broad range. So maybe I shouldn't use him. Because that's the thing. He's the type of actor that has so much range that I think, and it's not like he has the most range in the fucking world, but he has a lot of range. So he can do many different types of roles. But they have some actors that are like typecast because they're
and that's
so...
I was literally going to aid your point because I see where you're going. Because again, you have method actors, you know what I mean? And they have actors who are just like fit for a specific role, and
exactly. And all they have to do is just set the lines. Yeah.
All they have to do is just set the lines. Like I could have played the role of a black extra.
I thought you were going to say a Black Panther.
All I need to do is be on the camera and say, hey, and then that's it. You know what I mean?
Sure. There's that
Get me?
dude. There's that dude in I know you don't watch Euphoria, but there's that dude that plays Fez in Euphoria. When you hear the man talk normally, I saw the man talk in at the show, and I'm like,
Mhm.
holy shit. This man born for this role, dog. The man, it's so natural for him.
Right, and I get that, and that's why I agree with you, because you have some people who are just born for certain roles. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
But here's the other thing though, because
Especially
like,
what you're shooting.
but here's the thing though, right? When you listen to the man talking like an interview, the man is naturally funny. You know why? Because the man is so authentically himself, dog. The man slur him speech. The man kind of half answer your question. It's so entertaining. It's like this nigga could literally just go on a stage and just speak, and people are gonna laugh. Why? Because he's so much of a he's so much of a character that you can't help but laugh. And it's because the features of his personality are so extreme and exaggerated. How the fuck you not going to laugh? That's all I'm trying to say, dog. That's literally all I'm trying to say. It's not about teaching comedy. It's not about teaching how to make a joke. It's not about teaching humor. It's literally about taking who you are as a person and just turning it up like to an extreme.
I'm gonna disagree with you, bro. And I lost my point because I was going to bring it to a point where we don't have to agree on the same thing, but all I'm saying is, if that were the case with even other careers that are in music and like in entertainment, then everybody could do it. You know what I mean? But the point is, I just don't think so. I think most people just have a it factor that is just quirky. That's just their personality. Because you see what you just said? Some people just have a personality that, honestly, bro, it's not funny.